this spring's been going for you, change of scenery, and what you've seen from the team so far?
Yeah, no, it's been awesome so far. I think it was big for me to come in the spring, get a connection with these guys. I think it's going great so far. Great relationships with my teammates on and off the field, and obviously with spring ball, getting comfortable with the receivers, tight ends, running backs, O-line. I think we've gelled really well together, and I think we're having a great spring so far.
How was Auburn the spot for you when you were in the portal?
I think just them persistently recruiting me early. They were one of the first teams that hit me up out of the portal. They stressed how much they wanted me out of the portal too. It's nice to feel wanted. Coach Freeze and Coach Austin and Jesse, their message to me was, we got great ball players. They're going to be around me and help me out and support me. How Coach Freeze develops his quarterbacks. Obviously with Malik Willis, it was very, very appealing to me and just a place I knew I wanted to be.
What are your early impressions of the wide receiver room, guys like Cam Coleman, and what you've seen so far?
Absolute studs. I'm surrounded by dudes. It makes my job a lot easier. All I got to do is just distribute the ball to them.
You have pressure on yourself in terms of, Auburn last 2 years offense has been a little bit of a struggle. I think with a lot of things going on. Any pressures on yourself to sort of fix that?
Nah, not really. All the pressure I've felt over the past couple of years is kind of thrown out now. Expectations are just, for me, I try to be a perfectionist. My expectations for myself are always high, but I don't feel like there's added pressure on me to come in and fix things. I just kind of want to come in and just do my thing, and I do what I know I can do.
Jackson, how do you feel like you've done this spring? How would you grade your spring so far?
I feel like I've been having a really good spring so far. Out of the past 3 springs I've had, or 2 springs I've had, this has by far been my best one. I couldn't give you a number grade or anything because I don't have that stuff, but I feel like it's gone really well.
There was a report this morning that you were extended an invitation to the Manning Passing Academy and you're not going to go. Is that true? Can you speak to your decision on that?
Yeah, it is true. I went last year and I loved it. I had a great experience, but I feel like for me, I need to be around these guys as much as I possibly can, and I know that going there would have meant I'd miss a couple workouts with those guys, and I feel like that wasn't fair to them. I felt like I should go through the whole summer with them and just keep bonding with them and keep gelling with them.
Why do you feel this offseason it is so important for you to spend as much time with those guys as possible?
I haven't had, being at OU the past 2 years, I've known those guys for 2 years, even 2+ years, and for now I walk into a brand new situation. I didn't know a single person on this team before I came in, so I feel like it's just big for me to just be around the guys and them to know me and get to know me and me get to know them and just create a relationship so that when we're on the field, they trust me and they respect me.
What do you think that process of just getting to know the guys, getting acclimated with the guys has looked like so far from when you first arrived here to now?
I think at first just kind of getting in and being around the guys, hanging around the facility, being around them in workouts. Obviously, it doesn't happen overnight, so I've been, working at getting to know these guys and creating relationships. And I think, honestly, just being around them has been the biggest thing. There's nothing – you can always set up team events or stuff and go out to eat with the guys, but just being around them and having them get to know me was very important for me coming in.
Jackson, how do you feel like you fit in Freeze's RPO offense?
I feel like I fit very well. And that was one of the things he told me out of the portal, too, is he knows what I did in high school and what we did in college, and my scheme has always been very similar to what Coach Freeze runs. I know what he expects out of the RPO system and just the system in general. And I feel like for me coming in, it was big because, all these plays I've ran before, they're just called something different. So I was able to pick up the offense really quick and, be efficient early on with, decision making and accuracy and whatnot.
What's it been like working with Deuce Knight in that quarterback's room?
Yeah, it's been awesome. Deuce and John, the first day I was here in the facility, met Deuce and hung out with Deuce the first day, and we've been close ever since. Always going out to eat, always hanging around each other. I made a joke today. I feel like everywhere I'm in, either the facility or lunch or walking to class, I always see Deuce around. But me and Deuce become really good friends. I'm over this past spring, and I'm grateful to be in a room like that with those guys.
What has Deuce shown you out there on the practice field?
Deuce is a baller, man. Deuce is going to be really good in the future. I believe that. Arm strength, accuracy, and I think the most impressive part I've seen from Deuce is just picking up the offense. I know some systems are easier than others. but being his age and his maturity level, it's pretty impressive to see how well he's picked it up and how much he takes care of the ball and just makes the right decision.
What stands out to you most about these receivers at Auburn?
I mean, you could go across different receivers and say different things, but I say overall, the catch radius is unbelievable. I feel like Cam's caught like the most amount of one-handed balls I've ever seen before in my life. And obviously Eric and Malcolm were just extremely fast, extremely shifty. I feel like throwing to Eric and Malcolm's like throwing routes on air sometimes. They'll just blow by some people. It just makes my job easier, throwing to somebody that's, kind of smothered, or throwing to somebody that's wide open. It's a lot easier to throw to a wide open guy. So.
Jackson, Auburn people want to get to know their quarterback, feel like, they know who he is. So what do you want the Auburn fan base to know about you, maybe as a player and as a person?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just a pretty laid-back guy. After practice, I'll go home, watch some TV, maybe cook. I love to cook, love to fish, love to hunt, love to read. Big movie guy, big TV show guy. Just kind of love to play pickleball too. All the above.
You talked about the decision to come to Auburn, but just what made you feel like that it was time for a change of scenery in general?
Yeah, I feel like with everything that happened last year, I feel like it was best for me. It was college football is a business now, like just being real. If you're not thinking about yourself, then you're really not making the right decisions. And I felt that it was best for me in my career moving on, just to get a new scenery, just kind of have a hard reset and get in a position in a place I feel like was going to support me fully.
What did you learn from last season? I mean, it seemed like there was just, over the course of 4 months, a lot that went on there between injuries and an OC change and everything. What did you learn?
Yeah, the biggest one is adversity. We were actually one of our team Bible study last night. Our passage was James 1-12, and it was talking about how God places you in these moments of these trials of adversity, just so He can test you and your perseverance. And I feel like last year that verse hit me hard because last year that's exactly what happened. Play first 3 games, we're 3-0, and then go to Tennessee, have a bad first half, and get benched. I feel like for me it was a wake-up call from God just to kind of take a step back and root my identity in something other than the game, and really just go through that and just learn how to persevere through hard times. Because to be quite honest, it's probably one of the hardest things I've gone through in my entire life. And just really being strong, being able to persevere is something I feel like I learned a lot last year.
You came here as a visitor last year with Oklahoma. How excited are you to get in front of this crowd as a member of the Auburn Tigers?
Yeah, really excited. I was just talking to my strategist in the academic center about that. We played here last year, but it's a little different when you're not playing and when you're actually on the field, kind of soaking it all in. So I'm excited for Saturday, A-Day. I know it won't be near as packed as it will in the fall, but I'm really excited.
You had a highlight later in the season when you had a really good game against Alabama. Have you been here on this campus long enough to get a sense of what that rivalry is all about?
Yeah, it's a lot more than I thought. Like I grew up a Georgia fan, so it was always like Georgia Auburn, Georgia Florida, and I understood that. And then I come here and they hardly even want to say the name Alabama. Like it's constantly butting heads with that school, but I love it though. I mean, I love the South's old rivalries like that. I grew up watching them, and so I'm super excited to play in the Iron Bowl.
So you played high school ball in Texas. Did you grow up in Georgia?
I did.
Okay.
I lived in north of Atlanta for about 10 years. I moved out when I was 10.
What has this competition been like between you and Deuce, where you guys are able to get? There's only 2 scholarship quarterbacks here. I know Ashton's going to be here in the summer, but what has that been like getting so many reps within the offense?
Yeah, it's been good. Especially good for somebody like Deuce, who is brand new and needs those reps. I feel like competition's always great, and I feel like me and Deuce have had great practices just because I'll throw a great ball, and then Deuce will go out next set, throw a great ball, and it's good too. It's not like a competition where we don't like each other. Like it's good. We're playing off of each other right now, and when somebody makes a good play, we're over there cheering each other on. So it's been really good. I feel like it's only made both of us better.
In the RPO offense, decision making is so important. Do you feel like those reps, even in spring, are even more heightened because of that new system that you'll be playing in?
You said it again.
The RPO decision-making, Freeze always reiterates decision-making in that offense. Do you feel like these reps in spring are even maybe more important than past springs you've had because of this new system?
Yeah, for sure. And it's just, learning how he coaches, what he calls, and what he wants out of a play. It's different than what I've done at OU with, Levy and his RPO system. Just the way he does things. I think we get a little more freedom here, and just learning what coach wants and what certain situations he wants us to throw the ball in. I think it is super important right now to just kind of get those reps and see what he wants us to do and what he doesn't want us to do.
How unique is a guy like Eric Singleton, and how does he kind of open up the offense for you guys and all the different things?
Yeah, he's just a playmaker. Like I was saying earlier, it's like throwing routes on there to a guy like that. Extremely fast, extremely shifty, and just has a knack for getting open and finding the ball.
Jackson, how do you feel about the offense as a whole through the spring?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel like the defense has got us these past 2 days, but we've started off the camp really hot, and we started off hot, and I feel like we've stayed the same level, if not gone up a little bit. And in my past springs, it's never been like that. The defense has always got us the first half, maybe even the first 3 quarters of spring, and I feel like for us, we started off at a high level and we've continued to play at a high level.
What's something about living in Auburn so far that's maybe surprised you?
Surprised me. I feel like everyone's like, and this isn't a bad thing at all, but like everyone's like super nice. Like it's a little different than out there at OU. I'm not saying people aren't nice there, but I feel like people like see you as family already, even though you maybe just met them for the first time. They treat you as family, which is pretty cool.
You said you like to read and cook. You got a go-to dish or two that you're good at?
Yeah, I love to make fajitas. I love to make pasta too.
And how about what kind of genre of reading do you like?
Just fiction books, mystery books too.
Thanks, Jackson.
Awesome.
Thank you for your time.
Thank y'all.